Welcome back to the Underground Paradox, the UGP, and this is the part 3 of my time spent investigating with Ben from the 401 files on the Yorkshire moors. And I bet you thought I'd forgotten about this part 3, but I hadn't. Obviously this was a couple of months ago, and I've been back home since and investigating on my home turf of Dartmoor. So if you haven't seen that episode, please check it out. And I want to just take this opportunity to thank everyone for the support. The response to that video has been fantastic, and thank you to everyone that's commented. It really does mean a great deal. On the Dartmoor investigations video, a couple of things that I forgot to mention, which I'd like to take the opportunity to say now, is that first of all, my next upload is going to be investigations on Bodmin Moor in Cornwall, which is steeped in many centuries of haunted locations, some of the most reputed in the whole of the United Kingdom and England. So if you don't want to miss out on that investigation, please do hit that notification bell. And while I'm at it, I might as well say please subscribe to the channel. Your support really does help, and we're really new here on this channel, but we're building the community quite fast, and so it'd be awesome for you to become part of that community. So thank you very much to everyone that's subscribed so far. And lastly, I did mention it on the Dartmoor episode, but I don't think I brought enough attention to it. Up on the screen right now is the channel email, and if you're someone out there, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, if you've had an experience, an encounter, or you've got a theory, please reach out to me at this email and share your experiences. Just because I'm investigating in the southwest of England doesn't mean that your information can't be included in my content with your discretion, and it helps the investigation process. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. Right, okay, as promised, here is the raw and edited campfire conversations between myself and Ben from day one. At this time, we were in a wooded, undisclosed location. We stayed there till nightfall, and we lit a campfire, sat around and had a conversation about all things paranormal, whether that be cryptids, ufology, and this is the raw and edited footage. When I say raw and unedited, what I mean is I'm not going to cut anything out. You're going to see this in linear time. However, there was footage from both Ben's camera and mine, which I will be switching between, and that's what I mean by edit. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2 in this 3-part series of investigations with the 401 files, I'm going to put the links in the description to both episodes. You can either watch them now or watch them after. It has no relevance. However, one thing I want to say before I play you guys this footage is that both in Ben's edit that he did of his video of our time spent together on the Yorkshire moors, and in my first part 1 where I edited this time spent in this location, both of us found strange noises on our edits, and we've shared it with the audience and asked for your guys' opinions. But this location, according to Ben's information, is very well known for strange voices and strange activity. So it's very interesting that we've got an array of different sounds. But I won't be bringing attention to them in this edit. For that, you'll need to watch part 1 of my episode and go over to Ben's channel and give him some support as well and watch his episode. But keep your ears open, because who knows what you're going to hear. Now, the main thing that I've got to tell you is that this location was extremely scary. The best way I can describe it is if you imagine nature was a monster and it was going to eat you. This woods was extremely, very, very scary. I mean, it was strange looking from top to bottom. And Ben had an EMF reader. Now, on Ben's footage, the EMF reader looks magnified and it looks like it's right in front of me, but actually it's about half a meter in front of me. So all the way through these conversations that you're going to see, I could not see the EMF reader, and the majority of the time I couldn't see the lights reacting. Had I known how active and responsive it was to some of the call-outs that we were doing, I think I would have been a lot more scared. But Ben was a true professional and kept his composure, and you can see that throughout the footage. Don't forget, after this footage, I'm going to share some bloopers, both from my time spent with Ben and my recent episode on Dartmoor. The reason why I'm sharing these, anybody who knows me knows that what I do here on the Underground Paradox I take very, very seriously, but I also believe that you've got to enjoy everything you do and find the best fun in life. And so I thought I would share these bloopers with you, because hopefully they will brighten up your day a little bit and bring you a bit of joy. But for now, grab yourself a warm drink, get comfortable, and enjoy these campfire conversations.
Yeah, so something that I've been dying to talk to you about is, because I'm gonna be working on, doing this as a proper video, etc. So I'm not going to go into the detail of it now, but I'm working on. I've been doing a lot of research for, the Bigfoot Sasquatch phenomena, and I know. Am I right in thinking that you're more of the less of the flesh and bone and more of the alien Bigfoot?
Well, it just spiked right up. It just went right up to red.
What, the EMP?
I saw it as it was coming down. So for everyone watching, you've probably seen this move just then. I saw it as it was coming back down, but it definitely did go up. I'm not sure how far it went up when you mentioned the extraterrestrial Bigfoot. So yeah, I'm just making a note of that in case you guys missed it, but I definitely saw it coming back down. Sorry, go on, keep talking.
Yeah, well, anyway, so something that I've probably not told you is that I have a bachelor's degree in Native American Studies. Yeah. And so I'm going to be working on this theory for Sasquatch and Bigfoot that not only is using all the knowledge and the stuff that I've gained over the years from my Native American studies. Yeah. So we're primarily looking at North America here, but I've also got into a bit of medical science and sociology in terms of building up this theory. So again, it's awkward for me to talk about because I don't want to blurt it all out right now, because I want to save that for the reveal of the video. But one thing I'll tell you that it's heavily focused around is, and I'm sure you've heard about this before, but in a lot of Native American legends, folklore and stories, Sasquatch is more referred as hairy people. Yeah. So it's really going into that a lot. The main thing that you would need to think of is the expression hairy people, and I can't wait to share it with everybody, but I was hinting to it earlier on as we were walking through the woods that I don't think it's going to get a lot of love from a lot of people that are in the Bigfoot community, because I'm really trying to look at other options that present more of a scientific background to why Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or bipedal entities that are seen around the world could potentially be explained. So
what's your take? Do you think that Bigfoot is a flesh and blood creature? Do you think it's something else?
I would say that I'm not. We talk a lot about being open-minded, right, and open-minded skeptics. But again, I don't even. Recently, I've been dropping that word skeptic because I think open-minded just says enough, really. Because I think open-minded means that you want to explore both ends of the spectrum and look at all reasonable options and explanations for things. So I wouldn't say either way that I'm that camp or that camp, because I think there's enough context to, if Bigfoot or these, because when you think about it, you've got to think about it on a global perspective. You've got the Alamasty, you've got the Yeti, you've got the skunk ape, you've got the wild men of the Yowie in Australia, so everywhere where around the world this sort of phenomenon in some sort of form, sits. So if there is even 5 to 3 to 2% of those accounts, those reports are real, then it means that something's going on globally, right? And how does something go on globally if it isn't some other explanation like the alien connection or interdimensional connection? There was something I think you were saying on one of your videos recently where I don't know if it was you or it was somebody else, where if there is multiple dimensions existing in the same time and space, there's times when you could just accidentally get a view into that perspective. I think it was you saying that they could be seeing us
As the cryptids.
Yeah, exactly. And if you start to go down the avenue of interdimensional, it's something that a lot of pseudoscientists are really trying to explore and look into the fact that I think it was it Einstein that said that he thinks there's 4 dimensions? So, it's not outside of the realms of science. It's very much, people call it pseudoscience or fringe science, but to me, pseudoscience or fringe science is just science that hasn't been, fully proven yet. But
at one point, the Earth being flat, or the Earth being round, sorry, was pseudoscience.
Yeah.
Everybody laughed at that.
The splitting of the atom
That's
was
right.
considered pseudoscience. So,
I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. For me, science isn't something that's rigid or fixed. The true scientists who have a real passion are all about discovery, all about progression, always about breaking the mold and breaking the rules of what we think. And these are the people that create our evolution. For wrong or for right, Einstein theorized that he wasn't the one that split the atom. It was actually an Irish and an English professor that actually eventually split the atom. But years before that, Einstein, was theorizing that it could be done, and he was laughed at by a lot of the scientific community that just thought he was a bit balmy in his. But somebody like him who keeps pursuing it are the people that create our evolution. They create, what we now know as scientific fact.
I'm really weird, because I'm more of a believer that Bigfoot or an extraterrestrial is extraterrestrial than flesh and blood. But in the same breath, I also believe that there could be flesh and blood ones out there existing, especially when we talk about places like the Pacific Northwest, Alaska, and places like that. So I'm in this constant debate within my own mind as to what I believe. Does that make sense? Because I'm not ruling out that there are flesh and blood ones that exist.
Well, that's the essence of being open-minded, is that you're not rigid, you're not fixed. Today, you might feel that it's a good chance but you might absorb something tomorrow or read something that kind of makes you, and you're just open. A lot of people would say, they would look at that on the negative side of saying that, like, you're impressionable and you're just gullible to what other people say. But I don't think that's the case. And we've had so many conversations, you and I, and you know, I know that you're of the same ilk, that you just you know, you don't see something and then just naturally believe that because you've seen it on the internet or somewhere else like that it's true. We're both of that same ilk, but you know, there are a lot of people, unfortunately, that do, and that gives a lot of time the phenomena a bad rap, because people will, you know, I found myself having to leave certain groups on social media because just some of the content that's shared on there is just so outlandish, you know, shadows in the woods and stuff. And it's the story then that goes along with that. Everybody's capable of pareidolia. I mean, I had pareidolia earlier on. Like when we first arrived here, I thought I saw somebody stood in the woods, you know. But then I quickly realised that it was just, you know, the shape of a tree. But the problem is that certain people are more impressionable, and you know, more susceptible to flights of fancy and making those pareidolia connections as something real. But
And you know, something that I always try and push on the channel is to try and rid yourself of this fear of being scared to be wrong. Because if we're scared to be wrong, it means that we'll stand by things even if we know they are wrong. Does that make sense? Like, even if we have pareidolia, we know it's an upturned tree root, not a man standing in the woods. It doesn't matter how many comments come in saying you've got this wrong. This is an upturned tree root. People who are scared to be wrong, even though they know now the information that's coming forward is true, they won't want. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They'll still follow through and push this narrative. No, it was a man stood in the woods. It was, and I think that we have to stop being scared of being wrong, because that's what's damaging these phenomena. You know, like if you know you're wrong, hold your hands up. I mean, for example, recently I did a video, and I wouldn't say I was speculating on what this thing was, but it was unknown to me. There was a box up in a tree. You've probably seen it on the video.
Yeah.
Somebody came forward and said it's a pine mining box. The minute I saw and Googled this myself, it was exactly the same. It was a pine mining box. I accepted that.
Yeah.
Now, what some people would do is say, no, it's not. It's not a pine mining box. It's something different. There's more to this. And that is the skill, is being able to say, okay, that's fine, and not taking offence to that. Like, there's nothing personal about being wrong. None of us are perfect, and you're not always going to get it right.
No.
And to hold your hands up and say, well, I thought it was something different, I've never seen one before, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, far too often, like you just said there, on social media, especially Facebook and places like that, I see people who I know that they're wrong, still arguing. And it doesn't get us anywhere.
yeah. It's like, it's funny you say that, box, actually, because if you remember, you know, we've just been walking through the woods, and I was saying to you about, like, you know, probably one of my top sort of skills in this whole YouTube journey is that, you know, I consider myself a pretty good researcher. And so when I come across something that I don't know what it is, one, it excites me, and two, it creates this thirst that I've got to find out what it is. And when you did that video and I saw that box, I was just like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, I desperately need to find out. And I messaged you, didn't I? And I said, I cannot find, you know, I looked through all kind of forestry equipment, you know, various other things, and I just couldn't find any reference to this kind of box. And then luckily you had a subscriber who commented on the video and, you know, mentioned what they thought it was. And then as soon as you told me, I then also did the same as you, and I Googled it and then saw that. And I knew it was something to do with the actual essence of the tree, because you could see the way it was going into the tree trunk. So I thought it was some sort of resin collector or something like that. But it was a great find, and it's a great example of, just how sometimes, you know, it's great to come out and do things like this, but you sort of see things and you hear things, and you have to try and apply. The first thing you've got to try and do is apply some logic to it, and just take a moment to just go, what is this, or what could it be? Whereas, unfortunately, there's a lot of people within the paranormal different categories where you could sort of call it mass hysteria, really. I mean, another good example of that is, you know, I don't know what your feelings are on things like Loch Ness as a cryptid, but you know, it's really interesting how then you've got so many different lakes around the world where a kind of Loch Ness tale has also produced. Like there's, you know, the Great Lakes in America where they have several Ababoji or something it's called, or and then I know there's another few throughout Europe as well. And it's, you know, what are your feelings on things like Loch Ness?
And Loch Ness, is again conflicted because, you know, the vastness of that lake, how deep it is, and we all know that there's underwater caverns and hideouts for this place to take refuge.
Yeah.
So when I start laying it out on the table like that, that story of a creature existing makes sense. It seems plausible to me. But then I start asking, why has nobody, like, why are we not seeing more sightings? Why are people not coming out with more tales and more photos, and with the equipment that we've got on boats today, like fishermen and everything else? How have we not got more evidence than just a black and white photo from years ago? You know, and I know there is recent photos circulating and things like that, but again, it's just that conflict. I like to try and sit in the middle, you know, with anything. Well, even with things that I've experienced firsthand. So the paranormal, I know within myself is 100% a real thing. But when asked what it is it angels and demons? Is it deceased loved ones that have passed over? Is it some energy from a different dimension? I don't know. And just because I've had the experience with the paranormal doesn't mean that I should know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same like what we just said there with the Loch Ness. Like, the theory of it seems legit. It seems like it could exist. A creature living in these caverns deep in Loch Ness seems plausible to me. But then there's the other side, like the devil over this shoulder saying, well, where's all the evidence?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's what keeps me interested. If I thought I knew the answer to it, then I'd probably say, well, that's it, I'm stuck in my ways now, I know it's true, I don't need to look any further. But it's that not knowing that keeps me excited. And it's the same as why we're here tonight. Me and you both know that there's life elsewhere in the universe. You know, we both claim to have had experiences with things that we can't explain, and yet here we are still.
Yeah.
You know, we could easily sit back at home and say, well, I know it's real, but there's obviously questions that we have left unanswered that forces out the front door into places like this, looking for answers still, and that's what keeps me excited.
Yeah, where I think we're very similar is that we're just constantly always asking those questions, right? Because, you know, we're not those people who just go, this happened to me, and this is real, or this was exactly what I think it is. We're both kind of like, well, still need to explore, and that's what I'm finding that I love about this journey, and meeting people like yourself through the platform of YouTube, because it's you know, sometimes from the outside looking in, it can just be black or it could be white. You know, you're a believer or you're a skeptic, and I don't think it needs to be black or white, and I don't think anybody needs to assign whether they're a believer or whether they're a skeptic, and I just try to choose to stay open-minded. I mean, you know, when it comes to something like Loch Ness, as a cryptid, you know, what's really I'm going to use the word beautiful about the whole Loch Ness tale is that, you know, it's it brings a lot of tourism to that location, you know, and that's really great. And you know, we were talking earlier on about our love for C.S. Lewis and the Tales of Narnia and stuff. You know, the tale and the story of Loch Ness, it's you know, it's got that intrinsic kind of magic and fantasy to it, and I think that's what drives a lot of people to go to Loch Ness, and that, you know, in the hope that they'll see the monster. But you know, when you then look at other cryptids like Dogmen and you know, Bigfoot and Sasquatch, what's interesting is the leverage that they get, the mileage that they get, but they're not really adding to tourism. No. You know, because nobody, even in northwest Pacific Northwest. Nobody goes, oh, I'm going to go up to Washington this weekend and take the family up there and see if we can find Bigfoot. They don't do that. I mean, there's people that go out on Bigfoot hunting,
But it's not enough
search pies and
generate
stuff.
revenue.
No, it's not something that brings people in their hundreds of thousands flocking to one location and staying in hotels and things like that. So it's interesting that even across the whole category of cryptids, they work in very different ways. But, that's what I find so magnetic about the sort of wild men kind of thing, is that really, if there's nothing to it, why are there so many people still talking about it? Because it doesn't bring anything to anyone.
Just going to freeze it here quickly. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. As you'll have seen, the EMF reader has been going off quite frequently, but the pace of it starts to increase right now. So keep a close eye on it. Ben picks up on this and starts talking out to the environment, and also I get involved. But I just wanted to quickly mention, watch out for it.
Well, and with everything, whether we're talking ufology, whether we're talking ghosts and hauntings or cryptids, I'm a firm believer that there's at least somewhere around the region.
Just say ghosts and paranormal again.
Ghosts and paranormal. Did it go up again?
Yeah, it did it twice, I think, when you mentioned the paranormal.
It's kind of like, I think there's about 2 to 5% in all categories that are probably, there's some real truth to what's happening, and then the rest of it is fodder that is influenced. People will go out and the mind will play tricks, and they'll see things because of what they've heard somebody else has seen. And so when a lot of skeptics talk about things like mass hysteria, I definitely think that is a thing, and you've just got to cut through that, and just really keep searching for all the stuff that holds true and holds against anybody. Holds against anybody kind of trying to prove it to be fake, like the Patterson Gimlin footage,
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask some open questions for the EMF reader.
Right.
And then just see what we think to do.
See what happens.
That them back there can pick up our audio, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if there's anything in this forest with us right now that wishes to make presence known, please step near the device to my right hand side. It did flash as I said that. If that was you that made the device flash, please step closer again. I can't tell if it's my eyes playing trick. Can you see that?
I can't see it. I'm gonna just stand out here for a minute.
If there is anybody in the vicinity with us here in this forest that wishes to make their presence known, please step close to the device. If you could make the device go up to the yellow symbol in the middle. Definitely flashed.
So what does it mean when it flashes
It means
green?
there's an electromagnetic field near it. Something's producing electric near it.
And if it was a strong electric field, it would flash the 2?
Yeah. Red is the highest. The human body can't produce it. It's got to be electricals like stereos, phones, and... If that's you making the device flash, please step closer again. Can you make the lights go higher?
We welcome you to communicate with us. Communicate with us in any way you feel makes you happy. If it's making the the lights flash on this piece of equipment that we've bought, please make them flash, or if you want to talk to us in some way by making some sort of noise.
There's been lots of reports in this area of strange things happening, paranormal. If you are one of these reports, or you believe you know what's causing these reports, please step close to the device off to my right. I will carry on talking, see if it moves.
Okay.
It's flashing up to the second green, I don't know what that means. But you guys are watching anyway, so if this does decide to move while we're talking and in conversation, you guys will see it firsthand.
If you're watching through my camera, unfortunately I don't think I've got it. I think your head might be in the way, so
yeah.
But we'll let you know if it...
You can also use my footage as well if need be.
Nice.
So yeah, G, obviously this is your first time here on the North Yorkshire Moors, and you now know that there's a lot of reports, you have known for a while now anyway, that this is a hotspot.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any significant reason why you think that might be? Like after walking around today and just, absorbing the energy of this area?
Well, look, again, we were talking in the car earlier, weren't we, about, I think there's certain areas in the UK that we can sort of say are hotspots. Scotland is a hotspot, North Yorkshire is a hotspot, Wales is a hotspot, South Coast, and Dartmoor and Cornwall. So somebody might be watching this and going, well, are you just saying that the whole of the UK is a hotspot? But no, it's the specific areas in these locations. And I think one thing that's unanimous is that they have some sort of element where if you were going to be seen, the chances of somebody actually seeing the activity is small. Yeah. We don't have masses of expansive wilderness like you see in other countries in the world, like in Russia and parts of Northern Europe and North America and South America, but we still have locations where you can be, right now, and obviously what we're doing is very rare. There won't be a lot of people that would be out in this kind of location. We was discussing earlier on, unless they're, they'd be on the Yorkshire Moors if they were walking a dog, if they were hiking, if they were mountain biking, if they were rock climbing, but they don't venture like you do into these dense wooded areas, that are difficult to even just walk on, because, unless you work for the Forestry Commission or something like that, why would you do it? So I do think that there are areas that, you could have activity.
What was that?
Sorry, it might have just been the smoke in the branches.
And that just went the highest I think it's been.
I just thought I saw a face.
Yeah. That, I'm sure, was not my eyes. It could have been the reflection of the fire. But I'm pretty sure. If that was someone close by to us, can you please step close to the device?
Like, it's weird because what I saw, like I said, it looked like a face, but it wouldn't be at the height that a face would be. So unless it was the smoke going through the branches. Hold on.
As you said that, I saw this go up, but that could have been my eyes. I'll have to watch back on the footage, but I could have sworn that this moved up. So just to bring you guys up to speed, me and G was mid-conversation there, and G saw what he believes was a face. At the same time, I saw the lights on the EMF reader move up, Now, I'm not 100% sure that they did. I'll have to watch this back on the footage. But I could have sworn at the same time these lights went up, which is very strange.
You can obviously all see that it was like, oh, I'm sat in Ben's den, and just over the den is you know, a tree and there's branches.
What did the face look like? Human? Was it the same size? Was it?
I only saw it for a flash, but it looked like it smiled. Like it just looked like a face. You know when somebody's in the dark and then they come forward into the light like that? Yeah. It was like that, but it wasn't white light, it was almost brown light. But what I'm trying to say is that the branches that are up where I saw the face, the smoke at times from the fire is going through there, so it could have been the movement and the smoke playing with my eyes against the branches. But then when I stood up just then to have a look and try and get more of an assessment of what it would look like, I thought I saw movement further on beyond, about a sort of 2 meters beyond. I thought I saw movement again at the same sort of height and level.
If that was you that G saw, can you please step close to the device?
It was so quick.
It literally went up to the middle where I think to go. If that was you that G saw, can you please just move close to the device again? Just go up again.
Holy hell.
And it went up to yellow, the one I asked specifically. Okay, so if you remember earlier on in the conversation, I asked for anything around us in this vicinity to move the lights up to the yellow, which is a very specific command. G saw the face. At the same time, I believed that the device went up. And as I've just called out now for anything to step close to the device, the lights have moved up to the yellow, which we previously asked, which is a very specific command. So yeah, interesting. It's getting noticeably colder now as well. I'm starting to shake a little bit, so the temperature is definitely dropping. I think we'll give it about another 15-20 minutes. Then we'll be heading back in the car. I'm going to do some filming when I get back home as well. G is staying the night, and then tomorrow we've got another great day planned for you guys. We're going to head out to some more local hotspots. Different landscape, a different feel and a different vibe to where we are now, but nonetheless still very active areas for strange reports. I'm fascinated by the face that you saw now. I can't stop thinking about it. I thought you'd saw lights in the sky.
No.
I thought you'd seen like something fly over, or
that would be more indicative of me, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but and you know, I'm not somebody who greatly attaches to the paranormal, you know, the haunted side. But as I say, it didn't look like a white face or anything like that. It looked like the colour of the twigs, the colour of the forest. But it almost just looked like something came forward. But again, it was at a very strange height. It wouldn't be like I've just seen somebody coming towards me. It's sort of the branches where it seemed like the face came through is a good, I would say, at least 8 feet off the floor. So
strange.
But as I say, could be paradise eyes playing tricks.
Yeah,
on
but
us,
what
smoke. But it's weird that
but what
he
I'm
said-
thinking is that if you look at the smoke, by the time it gets to those branches, it's died out. The smoke is only really concentrated this height.
Yeah.
What you saw was 8 feet.
Just trying to come up with a logical explanation so I don't shit myself.
Yeah, fascinating, because it went right up to yellow as well. If that was you that we've just seen, or if you're stood next to this device, please move the light up to the yellow.
It's difficult because I'm trying to keep looking up, because when you come down and the light from the camera it then resets your eyes, doesn't it? So when you go up,
And I'm having this really weird thing where, because I've got the light from the fire in this eye, and it's dark off to this side, apart from the light that's in the shelter. Every now and then I think I'm seeing it move, and I can't really, like now I just saw it move, but I can't. I'm sometimes thinking, did I see it? Didn't I see it? But I'm pretty convinced.
That's the great thing, we've got it on footage, right? So
Yeah.
when I say, because I think I was in mid-talk and just stopped, and then you said as I stopped, you saw it go off, so we can check back on the footage, can't we?
Yeah. Right, I'll stop the video recording. I'm going to stop the video recording.
If we get any more activity that happens whilst we're sort of having our last bits here, we'll try and click the camera back on again.
Yeah, and keep you updated. I could have sworn it went. I can't see anything when I get to this point.
So here I am in the thick of Dolby Forest, and I just wanted to share this with you guys because, you know, something that we talk a lot about, both on the Vault, and I've had discussion with Ben's and
So G, we're about to cut through these. Sorry, I'll start again.
But you know, he would be a good representative of the human race, I think. So.
If they spoke English.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Head southeast, head southeast.
So, you know, this is awesome coming up to see your neck of the woods and spend some time with you. But, you know, I'd love to invite you down and do the same in the southwest, in the hot spot there.
So, you know, this is awesome coming up to see your neck of the woods and spend some time with you. But, you know, I'd love to invite you down and do the same in the southwest, in the hot spot there.
Oh, shit. Was that too bright?
I'm blind.
Sorry.
No, honestly fine. I was joking.
Down to the coast, to the cliff face there, and we was on our way back up. Sorry, let me start again. So we'd been down to the cliff face, me and my brother.
You can get the shot as well.
I know what I was saying. So I just want to get G on camera.
The door was open, but then after we finished exploring, the door was closed. But it is open. But it looks really bad here because, as I say, almost like a little mini lake pond has started forming in the middle there.
On the Dartmoor, because this is a location that is specifically very well known for. Sorry, I'm just being accosted by a pony who wants to come and say hello, I believe. I'm out here in the wilds of the moors, and yeah, got a little friend already. May come over and say hello. So if I stop filming in a minute, you know why. Anyway, this is strange. Here he is. He's walking around me now. He's going to come up and say hello, I think. Hiya, buddy. You okay? Just doing a bit of filming for a documentary. Are you wanting to, you know, selfie jump or whatever they call it? Certain things within that search that I've kept away from. FYI, if you can hear some sort of munching, that's because I'm here in the middle of Dartmoor, here in the UK, and I've been joined by a friend who's come to say hello, and he's having a nice little munch of grass. Well guys, that's it for the bloopers and for this 3-part series of investigations with the 401 files. So all it leaves me to do is say one last big thank you to Ben from the 401 files for hosting me in North Yorkshire. There's the man himself. I'm sure I'll be getting out with Ben again sometime in the future, whether that be back in Yorkshire or for me to be able to do the same and host him here down in the southwest on Dartmoor and Bodmin, get him out investigating with me. For now, I look forward to seeing you guys on Bodmin Moor with the UGP. That's going to be my next investigation, so please join me for that. And thank you for watching and have a great day. See you next time.